Well, hello and welcome to this masterclass about how to engage doctors with gifts, why gift giving works, and how to get it right. In this tutorial, I'd like to share with you the answers to some of these questions that you might have. Why give gifts? When do you give gifts? What are some great gifts and what are some mistakes to avoid? I'm Dr. Vicki Rackner, your host. I'm a retired surgeon, and for the past 15 years, I've helped financial services professionals accelerate their growth by working with more doctor clients. My secret sauce is really characterizing the differences between the world of business and the world of medicine. And I've built a bridge between these two worlds. The bridge goes both ways. So in my Engaging Doctors brand, I help financial services professionals go over to the land of medicine. But I've got another brand called Thriving Doctors, where I help physicians and dentists conduct themselves with a more entrepreneurial spirit. All right, so let's dig right in. Why give gifts? The answer is very simple. Gift giving works. You engage in lots of activities to have conversations with more doctors, and gift giving works. Would you like some evidence? Well, the pharmaceutical industry is probably the expert at building business relationships with doctors. And if you look, they actually spend more on sales and marketing than they do on their R&D budgets. A huge portion of that sales and marketing budget goes to gifts because gifts work. So they've got some evidence supporting this. Okay, why does it work? It has to do with the law of reciprocity. I do something nice for you, and you do something nice for me. So I do a lot of my shopping on Amazon, and within walking distance, there's a pet store. Now, I can get all sorts of things cheaper on Amazon. But every time I go in and make a purchase at that local pet store, they give me little samples. And so whenever I'm on Amazon, I think, oh, do I really want to not make the sale to those nice people down the street who care so much about my family and me? So that's the law of reciprocity in action. There's an interesting article published by Robert Cialdini, the author of Influence, a book that I highly recommend that you read or reread, that was published in the Journal of Applied Social Psychology. So the question was there any way for the waitstaff at a restaurant to increase their tips? Okay, well, we all know that at the end of the meal, your waiter or waitress gives you your bill. Well, if they included 1 mint with the bill, that increased the tips by 3%. If they put 2 mints on the plate, that increased the tips to 14%. But if they put 1 mint with the bill and then quickly came by and gave a second mint, now the tips went up 23%. So what you give and how you give it impacts how a person responds to you. So gift giving will work with any client base, but let me tell you why it's particularly important if you're working with doctor clients. In my signature Cracking the Physician Code course, I outline the 10 laws of physician engagement. And the very first law is if you want to conduct business with doctors, conduct yourself as one. We already know that people like working with people they know, like, and trust. Our brains are wired with a special cell called a mirror neuron. So really the statement, I like you, means I am like you. I see part of myself reflected in you. All right, well, what's important to doctors? How do they conduct themselves? There was a surgeon, Francis Peabody, who was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, so he knew his time was limited. And so he gave a series of lectures about what he had learned over his career. And the thing that he's most noted for is this saying, for the secret in the care of the patient is caring for the patient. So what doctors want to know when they work with you is, do you genuinely care about them? And a great gift is a way of saying, I care. Now, when we think about gifts, a lot of us think about something physical that can be delivered to the doctor. But I want to remind you that if it's truly a way of saying, I care, there are different love languages on the planet. There are words. So, a great gift to a doctor might be writing them a note, telling them what you admire about them. It might be quality time. I remember speaking with somebody who was complaining about his mother. I just can't believe it. I buy all these things for my mother. I fill up her car with gas, but it just never seems like it's enough. And the problem was that his mother's love language was quality time. All she really wanted was for him to sit down and watch TV with her. Then there are acts of service. There are the physical objects that we classically think of as gifts, and then there's touch. So if you want to give a great gift, you have some insight about the recipient's love language, and you're able to speak in that language. So you can say, I care with words and action. So, in essence, gifts are a way of delivering value. So, when we think about gifts, it can be something you buy, it can be your pearls of wisdom, it can be an experience, it could be providing a listening ear or a solution or empathy or maybe even hope. That might be one of your great gifts. So, speaking of great gifts, what are some of the elements of a truly great and memorable gift? Well, a great gift says, I know you. I know your preferences. Conversely, something that doesn't fit often makes this person think, well, who is this person? Don't they know about me? You wouldn't want to give a bottle of wine to a recovering alcoholic. So make sure that your gift hits the mark. A great gift connects. A great gift aligns with your brand. So let's say your brand is all about fun. Well, the gift should be fun too. If your brand is all about luxury, your gift should reflect that too. And a great gift reminds the client of you. Like when they're using it, they think about you. Probably the most important thing for great gift giving is to deliver the wow factor. So I had a financial advisor hire a barbershop quartet to go to the doctor's office and serenade the doctor on the eve of his retirement. Everyone was talking about it. So as you think about your gift, just ask yourself, would somebody put it on Facebook or Instagram? Would they mention it in the doctor's dining room or the surgeon's lounge? You want to have that wow factor. And of course, any gift that you give has to be in compliance with FINRA's gift regulations, which is that a gift can be no more than $100 in value over a year per person. So let me just cut right to the chase and tell you what I think the best gift is. It is a book that you give doctors about money that doctors love to read. So I've got a lot of people using the 9 Money Mistakes book as a gift in all sorts of different ways. In fact, this is a note that I got from one of my private coaching clients. She said that she had given one of the nurses a book as a thank you gift, and she invested to create a custom forward and afterward. And she just got 2 new referrals as a result of giving out that book. So maybe you've written a book. Maybe you've got a book that you absolutely love. Books are great because, well, first of all, they're very cost effective, right? Second, if you've written the book, now your name is on the cover. It's in front of doctors. You help establish your expert positioning. But even if you haven't written the book, you can create a custom bookmark and include 2 or 3 of the bookmarks. The bookmark can have information about you. So now when the doctor looks at that book, which are not recycled, by the way, most people give books, now your name is tied to that value. All right, so let's talk about some other categories of gift. Well, of course, there's food and drink. I have a client who works with dentists, and she buys cookies that are in the shape of teeth. So it's very, very easy to find great gifts. You can go on Amazon if you know a doctor loves coffee and tea. Here's a nice gourmet gift basket. You have all sorts of options, and Amazon makes it very easy. You can just go to the search bar and you can find the kind of food that you want to send. Is it a basket or a gift or a tower? And you can also plug in the amount that you want to spend for the gift. So very, very easy. So I went to ChatGPT, whom I consider my new staff member that I pay about $20 a month for. And I asked ChatGPT, what are some great gifts financial advisors can give their doctor clients? And, so you can use ChatGPT for questions like this too. Okay, so we've talked about food and drink. Now let's talk about stress management tools. So, what we know is that there is an epidemic of burnout among physicians. It peaked in 2023 at between 60 and 70% of physicians said that they were burned out. In 2024, we're seeing a downtrend for the first time in years. So, doctors are stressed. How about if your gift helps with stress management? So, again, you can go on Amazon and find all sorts of spa gifts. If you know of a doctor who's having a hard time sleeping, something like a white noise generator could help tremendously. Something warm and comforting. And as a doctor, I will formally classify chocolate as health food. It does a great job of stress management, and that's why we all enjoy it. All right, another class of gifts to think about are customized gifts. So, gifts that have your prospect or client's name in them. Okay, so what are some examples? Well, you can get monogram stationery. You can get pen and pencil sets. Um, One of my clients in Canada told me that they give away customized golf balls. And then, of course, you can give the ultimate customization. Maybe you want to give a 23andMe DNA test. Some great gifts bring families together. So, do you have a favorite game that teaches lessons about how money works? That would be a wonderful gift, especially if your client has kids. Um, you can send them something that they can make together as a family. One of my very favorites are these family conversation topic packs. So it's just a bunch of cards, and over a meal or in front of a fire, family members can learn more about each other. Some people are really enthusiastic about green gifts. If that's part of your branding, you too have lots of choices. How about a stainless steel straw set? This is actually one of my favorite presents that I ever got. It is a smart garden. So no matter what time of the year it is, I can just go and pick the things that I use in my cooking. If you're a techie, there are all sorts of tech gifts. These tiles are great. Here is something to track my skin UV exposure, great for a dermatologist, right? And sometimes it doesn't have to be high tech, it can be low tech. So these are the wine bracelets. If a doctor is having a party, the doctor can choose a wine bracelet. And so now they know which glass is theirs. Probably for the physician who already has everything, you might want to consider giving an experience. People remember experiences. So you can go to a site called Experience Days and find great things to do. What if you sent your doctor on a hot air balloon ride? Um, or, allowed them to drive a stock car. If you've got a foodie, you can offer them a cooking lesson. If you've got some former military, an air combat fighter pilot simulator. There are things that families can do with kids. I came across this same pile. St. Paul Gangster Tour, which was a lot of fun. Of course, there's escape rooms. And if you have a doctor who's interested in trying something like glass blowing, that would be great. So all you need to do is Google experience gift and then put in your town, and you'll come up with all sorts of great ideas. Okay, next, as you think about gift categories, you can think about engaging with celebrities. So last year, I wanted to give my son a really special gift. He's a power lifter. He's been lifting since he's been about 16. He's broken world records. He's very serious about this. So he's hired a coach, but I also know that he follows a lot of lifters on YouTube. So I asked him as a birthday present, would he be interested in having a one-on-one consultation with one of his mentors? And his eyes just got as big as saucers. And he said, that would be amazing. I never considered that possibility. Could you make that happen? Well, with one email, I made that happen. And this, my son says that this is one of the best gifts he's ever gotten. So if you've got doctor clients who golf, maybe you get them a lesson with a golf pro. Maybe you host an event for the doctors in your community in which you invite a celebrity. And it's actually not that hard to connect with celebrities. If you just think about your social circles, you might find something. For example, one of my coaching clients was a chess master, and he hosted an event around chess when the Queen's Gambit was a hot show. And it worked out great for him. Then there are branded gifts. So customized gifts have your client's name on them. Branded gifts have your name on them. And one of my very favorite is this stress-o-meter. So a doctor just puts their thumb on the green dot and it delivers the level of stress. Now, most physicians will carry some sort of measuring device, in their white lab coat, because if there's a mole, you've got to be able to tell how big is it. So this is something that you can order, have it branded for you, and it's one of my favorites. But there are great websites that you can go to find all sorts of branded gifts. So I love this one. The back of the smartphone is unused territory. You could potentially create custom versions of this card holder that they just stick on the back of their phone. And then every time they look at it, they see your company name. Umbrellas, all sorts of things to drink. So I would recommend just cruising through these sites and finding something that really speaks to you, that aligns with your brand. All right, cash is always a gift option. So making a donation to the doctor's favorite charity is an option. I do know that some people give away gift cards, always possible. Now, a couple of things about giving a great gift. One is that presentation matters. So you know how you feel when you've gotten an elegantly wrapped gift. So think about those small things. If you're going to order something from Amazon, go ahead and pay the $5 extra for a nice gift bag because it counts. If you're going to send a doctor a gift, maybe you send it special delivery so that it's an event when this thing gets received. Next, you want to think local. Anytime we can support our local economies, that is a great thing to do. All right, let's talk about gift giving don'ts. All right, well, the first is to rethink Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, gift giving. During that time of year, people get all sorts of gifts. It's more difficult for your gift to stand out. If you are giving a holiday gift, make sure that you know what holiday your client is celebrating. You don't want to send a Christmas card to somebody who's Jewish. So really think carefully about your holiday gift. If you've got a great sense of humor, your clients probably love it, but be really careful with humorous gifts because they can backfire. And of course, I wouldn't be responsible if I didn't point out that we're living in a cancel culture. There are a lot of ways of offending people. So be smart, be on the safe side. All right, well, you might be wondering, how much should I spend on gifts? And I think that's a great question. I recommend that you sit down with a paper and pencil and figure out what it's worth for you. And here are some numbers you might want to think about. What is your cost of client acquisition now? What is the lifetime value of a doctor client? Because remember, client acquisition is more challenging with doctors. But once you have that doctor client, chances are very, very good that you're going to retain that doctor client. So, what is a doctor client worth to you? So I went out and looked at the numbers and found that the average amount that a financial advisor invests in gifts is 1 to 2% of their annual revenue. Sometimes it's much more. So let's say, for example, that a doctor client is worth 50,000 to you in revenue a year. Well, how much would you spend to get one of those new doctor clients? And then, as you give the gifts, what is the evidence that gift giving actually works? Now, that's soft evidence, right? If you host a dinner meeting and a new doctor comes and they become your client, you can say, aha, it was worth investing in that dinner event. With gifts, it's softer. But as you saw, one of my own clients can tie 2 new referrals to giving her new book. All right, let's talk now about, well, when should you give gifts? What are some triggers for offering a gift? Well, here's one way of looking at it. Here is a Statistica report about the leading consumer spending events. So if we just look at it, we see things like back to college, back to school, gifts and celebration. And I think they mean like Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa there, maybe birthdays. And then there are events on the calendar: Mother's Day, Father's Day, Valentine's Day, Easter, graduation, Halloween, Independence Day. So let's say, for example, one of your doctor clients calls and is so excited because their granddaughter just got admitted to Dartmouth Medical School. All right, you can go online and have that doctor send a Dartmouth sweatshirt. It's a great way of celebrating it. What about birthday celebrations? Well, you don't just want to go on Facebook and wish a doctor happy birthday. You want to be thoughtful. Sending a card is always great. You can go to a website that will create a web page that tells what was happening on the day of the doctor's birth. Something that I enjoy doing is calling up the birthday boy or girl and singing the Casey Jones Birthday Express in my voice that would never be on any singing contest, but I sing it with enthusiasm. And people look forward to getting my call. Anniversaries are a great time to send a gift. And when we think about anniversaries, most people think of wedding anniversaries. But what if you celebrate the anniversary of your relationship with your doctor client? That's wonderful. I'm a retired breast surgeon. And so after a woman was healed up from the surgical element of her treatment, I would invite her back a year later. And I would have cupcakes. We would celebrate. It has been a year since you went through that chapter in your life. And it's just something positive to do. So you can make up anniversaries. Who doesn't like celebrating? How about throwing a retirement party or doing something really, really special when your clients finally make it to retirement? What about if somebody has a new family member. Well, when I had my son 27 years ago, my very favorite present was this. They were little wooden letters that spelled out his complete name. And he has two middle names, so this was a very long name. I just got two new kittens, and we are very close to our pets, right? If you know that one of your clients is getting a new pet, you can go online and get custom bowls or collars, all sorts of special things. When somebody has experienced a loss, this is an important time for your presence to be felt. And let's go back to the pet example. Let's say that you found out that one of your client's beloved pets has passed. Well, what if you created a custom portrait of their wonderful companion? Can you imagine how moving that would be for a doctor to receive that? Okay, getting a new house, that can be a great thing. So you can also hire an artist to create a watercolor of their new house. When somebody has achieved a goal, let's say that they had been planning to launch an online business doing smoking cessation education, and they finally launched it, that can be a time for celebration and a gift. Then, of course, there are all the classic holidays, and some of these holidays may just speak to you. One of my favorite holidays is Thanksgiving. And here is the gift that I give around Thanksgiving. What I will do is I will write a card thanking this person for being in my life. It's an individual custom card that describes something that I admire or respect about that person. I talk about how much better my life is because they are in it. And I just extend my thank you for them being who they are. So I hope that you will at least give this a try. It is just a fun gift to give. And if you want to elevate this, what you can do is knock on the door, deliver the card, but deliver this message verbally too. Then there are the holidays, and you probably have your own holiday traditions. I guess I would ask you, is this the holiday that you want to put your gift budget into? All right, Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is hard for single people or widowed people or divorced people. You know, if we look at some of our health challenges, loneliness is one of them. So, what if you did something nice for one of your clients on Valentine's Day who might otherwise be lonely or feel forgotten? Mother's Day, 4th of July, Father's Day, these are all opportunities for you, again, to something call to you. And sometimes it's fun to give gifts just because. All right, let me take on a gift giving question. And that is, should you pay for referrals or introductions? You might have a relationship with another business person, and this person offers to send you clients for a cash gift. Well, you get to decide whether or not that works for you. But here is really the more important question. In order to accelerate your growth, you want to cultivate a culture of introductions. Like, let's say you send out that barbershop quartet. How did that happen? Well, my financial advisor is celebrating this achievement that I'm retiring 5 years earlier than I thought. Oh, who is your financial advisor? And word about gets around about you in that way. So the question is, do you give a gift to this person? I think a handwritten thank you note is always a great gift, But let me just share a little experience with you. The summer that Katrina hit, my house burned down. My dryer had overheated, an element had malfunctioned. I lived in an old wood house and I just stood across the street watching my house burn down. Well, I was so grateful to the firefighters who went in and rescued one of my cats, offered to find things that were especially special to me, and I wanted to do something nice. So couple months after I was sort of resettled in my rental, I went to the head of the fire department and I said, I am just so grateful and I'd like to do something nice for you. What do you guys need here? What can I give you? And he looked at me with those wise eyes and he said, I know your heart is in the right place, but we feel called to do this. And when people give us gifts, it's like our service kind of gets belittled because we don't do it for the gifts. We do it for its own reward. So too, a doctor who sends a friend to you is doing it because they care about this friend. So, you know what works for you when somebody sends you a new doctor client. I just offer this little piece of insight. Okay, let me get back to what I think is an ideal gift, which is a book about money that doctors love. So, this 9 Money Mistakes book is proven. One of my clients who's given me permission to tell you about this is James Fratello. He is in the Boston area, and this book is his primary marketing tool. So he's gotten these bookmarks created. They're standard size bookmarks. So you see the front and the back of the bookmark, and he just carries them around with him all the time. And he runs into doctors everywhere. And the doctor will ask, well, what do you do? And he pulls out a bookmark. Oh, can I get a copy of that book? And that has worked well for him. Now, he doesn't just give a copy to the doctor, he will wrap it and then bring it to the doctor's office. He has a branded gift card that goes along with it. And as he points out, no gatekeeper is going to open up a gift. Like this is going to get to the doctor's desk. No problems. So if you have your own book, think about really using that more frequently. If you want to do the 9 Money Mistakes book, I would be happy to sell them to you at my own author cost. So it makes it very affordable. But here's another book idea that I really encourage you to consider. Write your own book with the collected pearls of wisdom that you've gotten by talking with doctor clients. If you've been through the Cracking the Physician Code course, you know that there's an exercise to help you be at the right place in the right time with the right marketing message. The tool is called the informational interview. You reach out to thought leaders in medicine and ask them to help you by spending 15 minutes with you so you can find out what it's like being them, especially at this phase of the recovery from the COVID pandemic. You've got a list of questions that you can ask. However, here's a question you can always ask doctors. To what do you attribute your current level of success? And you're going to get some pearls of wisdom. So write them down. Comment to the doctor. That is a wonderful thing I'm sure early career physicians would love to know. May I quote you? And of course I'll attribute you. And of course that doctor is going to say yes. Okay, now, what if you did one informational interview a week for a year? Now you've got 50 pearls of wisdom. Now imagine creating a book. The page is going to be very simple. It's the doctor's pearl of wisdom and a picture of the doctor. Now you've got something that every physician would want to read. So you've got a great gift. And of course, you would give 5 or 10 copies to each of the doctors that is in your book. And of course, you've got to get permission and attribution and jump through all of the publishing hoops. But I hope that you can see how powerful this would be in creating something that doctors truly would want to receive and position you as an expert. Because now you are the person talking to the past president of the American College of Surgeons, or the head of Seattle Surgical, or the chair of the cardiology department at an academic institution. Doctors are very willing to share their wisdom with others. So I hope that I've made a compelling argument for the wise investment in gifts. It's a gracious way to build relationships with doctors. I think you're going to see a strong return on your investment. And you can think about giving gifts in a way that works for you. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. And most importantly, thank you for your commitment to serving doctors in your community. Everybody wins.